The night air in Lagos carried the scent of rain and exhaust fumes, a mix that clung to Ada's skin as she stepped off the Danfo bus near Yaba. Her phone buzzed, her mother's message again. "Ada, please, your brother's school fees are due tomorrow." She stared at the screen until the words blurred. Her stomach twisted. She had 1,200 left. Rent was overdue. Her textbooks were unpaid. The world seemed to shrink around her, pressing her toward a choice she had tried to avoid. At the hostel, Ada's roommate, Tenny, lounged on the bed scrolling through Instagram. "Babe, you still die suffer?" she teased. "You too fine to be broke. One dinner with the right man fit, change your life." Ada laughed weakly, but the words stuck. That night, she opened her Instagram DMs and saw a message from Mr. K, a businessman she'd met at a campus event. "You looked stunning today. Let's have dinner tomorrow. My driver will pick you." She hesitated. Then she typed, "Okay." The restaurant glowed with soft amber light. Ada wore a borrowed dress, black satin, simple but elegant. Mr. K smiled across the table, his wrist heavy with gold. "You remind me of my daughter," he said, sipping wine. "Smart girl. You deserve better than this country gives you." When he handed her an envelope after dinner, Ada's fingers trembled. Inside was 200,000, enough to pay rent, buy food, and send money home. That night, she sat on her bed staring at the cash. The guilt came first, then the relief. She whispered to herself, "Just this once." But deep down, she knew survival rarely ends with just once. Ada's life began to change quickly. The 200,000 from Mr. K had solved her immediate problems. But it also opened a door she wasn't sure she could close. She started dressing differently, sleek satin dresses, polished nails, and gold jewelry borrowed or bought with her new earnings. On Instagram, her photos glowed with filters and captions like "soft life only." Friends whispered. Some envied, others judged. One evening, Kiyamakatha, confident run girl Ada had met, took her to a rooftop lounge in Victoria Island. The city lights shimmered below and the air smelled of champagne and perfume. "This is the life, Ada," Kiyamaka said, clinking her glass. "No stress, no struggle. Just enjoy." Ada smiled, but her eyes wandered. She noticed another girl crying quietly in the corner, her makeup smudged, her phone buzzing with unanswered calls. The glamour had shadows. Soon, Ada faced them herself. A wealthy man promised her a trip to Dubai, but after weeks of waiting, he vanished. Another demanded more than she was willing to give, threatening to expose her if she refused. The money was real, but so were the risks. Ada began to realize that every glittering night carried hidden dangers, jealous rivals, exploitative men, and the constant fear of being discovered by her family. Yet she couldn't deny the allure. For the first time, she felt powerful, desired, and free from poverty. But freedom came with chains she couldn't see until they tightened. Ada's nights grew heavier, even as her wardrobe grew brighter. The satin dresses and gold jewelry no longer felt like triumph, they felt like masks. Every time she sent money home, her mother's voice on the phone carried gratitude, but also suspicion. "Ada, are you sure you're okay? You sound tired." At school, whispers followed her. Classmates noticed her sudden glow-up, the way she arrived in taxis instead of trekking. Some admired her, others sneered. One lecturer even hinted, "Some of you think you can buy success with shortcuts, but the law will expose you." Ada's cheeks burned. She began to dream of escape. Late at night, she sat at her desk, counting Niera notes and hiding them in a shoebox under her bed. She enrolled in a professional law course quietly, telling no one. Each payment felt like a step toward freedom, but the shadows pressed closer. One man, a politician, promised her a scholarship if she stayed with him. When she refused, he threatened to expose her messages. Another time, a rival girl spread rumors about her, nearly costing her friendships. Ada realized the lifestyle was a trap. The more she earned, the deeper she sank. Yet she clung to her vision one day. She would walk into a courtroom, not as a run girl, but as a lawyer. Her heart carried both fear and hope. Fear of being discovered, hope of breaking free. And in that fragile balance, Ada began to plan her escape. Ada's shoebox of savings had grown heavy, each bundle of Nira notes a silent promise to herself. But with every deposit, temptation whispered, one more dinner, one more trip, one more envelope. The cycle was seductive and breaking it felt impossible. One night, after a tense encounter with a man who tried to blackmail her, Ada sat on the edge of her bed, clutching her money with trembling hands. The stress carved lines into her young face. She realized then that survival had turned into captivity. The next morning, Ada made a decision. She withdrew part of her savings and registered her consultancy legal services. It was small, just a rented office with peeling paint and a second-hand desk, but it was hers. Her first clients were women like her students, single mothers, hustlers seeking advice on contracts, rights, and protection. Ada listened, guided, and defended. For the first time, she felt her power was not borrowed from men's wallets, but built from her own mind. The whispers at school faded. Her family, though never told the full truth, saw her steady progress and celebrated her resilience. Ada had transformed her survival into empowerment. She was no longer just a run girl. She was Ada, the warrior, the dreamer, the woman who swam against the tide and found her own shore.